Yeah, sure. Whatever the fuck. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an special episode of fucking Trip Smoke Pit. We're kicking the pig right now. Fucking yeah. So here we are. I'm here with Eric Pickle and fucking Chuck Lavaki.
Did I spell it right?
I don't know. Did you?
I don't know. Neither of us came up with it.
I mean, I think that was a fucking conglomerate. Dude, what are you doing with that fucking Maker's Mark, man?
Wait, what? Who?
And you, what are you doing with that fucking Maker's Mark?
I mean, I plan on pouring it and then.
The right answer is drinking it, but yeah.
Yeah, sipping on it, and then swallowing it, and then eventually absorbing it and getting drunk off it.
That's what she said.
That's what I don't think it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's 2021. That's what they said.
I just think you're turned on by the word swallow, which is like
not wrong with that.
Anyways, yeah, a little bit of water.
Yeah. What do you mean you're reading on the side?
What?
Your camera side.
You bought that camera.
Oh yeah, that's how fuck. Well, I never touched it. I had it shipped directly to you.
No.
I think
that's
very strange that I bought that camera. I don't like. I forget that. Like I've watched your videos, and then randomly I'm like, oh shit.
So tell me how you met Trip.
We actually met in the smoke pit outside the barracks in fucking
because I met you probably 2 or 3 times in different smoke pits, and then
around base.
The last year that I was in, I met you when I was in the same barracks as you, where we like hung out a few times, and then I brought you a guitar, or I brought my guitar over, and then.
Yeah, he's got a really nice Gibson.
Used to.
But what happened to your Gibson?
So what had happened is I picked up some friends. They were drunk at a bar, and I was like, yeah, I always tell my friends, like, don't drink and drive. I'll pick you up. They call me at like 3 a.m. I drive almost an hour to pick them up outside the bar. I drive them to their friend's house, and I'm dog-ass tired from working all week because I was working a factory job at the time, working like 50 hours a week. Yeah, and I probably pulled some overtime that day because I knew I wasn't good. Like they were like, you need to show up on Saturday, and I was like, you can eat a dick. I'm going hunting, and so I worked overtime on Friday. I picked them up at the bar. I drive them to one of their houses, and I'm stupid tired. We talked for probably an hour, and I'm like, dudes, I got to go home. I'm falling asleep, and it was raining. I didn't bring my glasses while I was driving, and I was nodding off on this back road, and then I misjudged a turn in the middle of like half asleep, and I rolled my truck into a field. And so I had
was your guitar in the truck?
Huh?
Was your guitar in the truck?
I had 2 project vehicles at the time, and I needed to be able to get to work. So I took I had a 40th anniversary Telecaster, and I had a Gibson acoustic electric, and I needed money at the time because I was working
acoustic electric, like a 2200 or something like that.
This was a pretty old one. I know they discontinued. I don't even remember which one.
I mean, acoustic electrics can only be so old, but at the same time, like they can be pretty old. Yeah.
It was one of the like they made it in the mid or early 2000s. They made it for a couple of years, and they discontinued it. And I remember because like my dad got it for a deal, and then I bought it off of him, and then I had it, and I had the Telecaster that I bought off my little brother, and which was
this is this American-made collector's Telecaster.
Yeah. And then I was strapped for cash because the job wasn't paying good, and so
but you had to get to work.
And I was like, I need to get to work by Monday, and so I sold both of them for way less than I should have. And I put that money into my Mustang, and which was my drag car. So I was driving a drag car to work.
And you were driving a car that had 4 tires and a functioning engine to work.
But it was the only
hopefully not in the snow. Well, not where you're from.
Yeah, well, and this was back when I lived in southern Arkansas. So the only time it snows there is when it's catastrophic. But
that's end of the world. Yeah.
I needed the money, and I was like, well, this is the only way I can do it. And so I sold the guitars. And
I've been exactly there. Yeah, I had a Taylor. It wasn't a special Taylor. It was like a 12 or 1300 series. We're starting at 12, 13. It was like a 200 series that cost me like 12 or 1300. But I bought it like at an MCT. You know, like I had this thing like for a decade, and I got into college, and I hit some hard times, and I realized that like I wasn't going to be able to make rent, and I didn't want to ask anybody for money, so I just like sold everything, and I sold the Taylor, and I sold my SIG Sauer P9 38 compact custom pistol that had literally never been fired. It was the prettiest little pistol in the world. I'd never even gotten a bullet out of it, but I had to take it at such a loss because you can't sell a new pistol new.
Yeah.
Nobody buys a new pistol new. Like, there's no way. Like, even if it looks like brand spanking new, like, you know, just like, oh well, I mean, Sauer used price is what it is. So like, I sold this like $1,500 guitar for about $8. No, I sold it for $5. And I sold the pistol, which was probably worth $900. I sold that for also $5. Yeah, made $1,000 off the two of them combined. I was just like, oh, that hurts so bad. This is like $3,000 value and just these two things. But I also sold a bunch of other stuff, and I like had my rent good for a few months, like just, you know, enough time to find like a square job, because I thought the GI Bill was going to be enough to like coast through college.
Nope.
It's really not. Yeah. Like, depends on where you live. Because I had some buddies who they all hitched up in Columbus, and they were fine. Combining their pool, the rent that they were asked to pay, like they were good. But I was in Maryland, and even though I got more money than they did, like the cost of living, it's just not like a sliding bar, man. Like,
yeah.
It was enough to pay rent, pretty much nothing else. So I just like racked up credit card debt, and then like the next year I was just like, oh shit, I'm out of money. So I had to sell my guitars, my guns, like everything. And later on that year, we had this ex-Navy SEAL dude who was living with us, and he was flunking out of school, and we were just like, hey man, like we're gonna have to ask you to move out. Like, you know, like you're about to lose your GI Bill, you're not gonna be able to pay rent. Like we're gonna have to ask you to make way for somebody else. Like what do you plan on doing? He's like, oh, I'm just gonna live out of my car. I'm like, bro, you got like $8,000 of guns in that hard safe. And he was like, well, I'm not gonna get what I paid for them. I'm just like, yeah, but you wouldn't live in your car.
You never are.
Yeah. You wouldn't live in your fucking car. You can start your collection again later, man. Like, you got 5 shotguns. You got 8 pistols. You got like 12 AR-15s. You're about to be homeless. And he's like, yeah, but I just, you know, I love every single one of them. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, fair is fair. Like, enjoy living in your Prius.
Yeah. No, speaking of fair is fair. I guess the way we met was when I was in 29 Palms. I was very much like Gandalf, and the fact that like in a cloud of smoke, Sergeant Ainsworth would appear, not late, not early, at the exact time he described he would be there to dispense his wisdom, and then fuck off.
I mean, you were probably fucking off while you were there too.
Oh yeah. That's besides the point, Chuck.
So this is 29 Palms. So that would have been 2016, 15?
16 to 18.
I think I had met you.
Oh no, we did our road trip in 2016 , buddy. So
no, that was early 2016.
Yeah, but we did a road trip getting you there at 16. So that would have been 16 or 17 that he would have made you.
16, 17, 18.
I know that while I was line staff on the rifle range, I had met you.
Job. I'm so sorry.
Honestly, so I have a pew pew tattooed on both fingers because I'm an ambidextrous shooter.
Can you put that forward for the camera to see? I want to make that resolution now.
I don't know. Oh shit!
Pew, pew,
there we go.
pew,
Pew
pew.
pew.
Oh, and it's like red and blue too.
Yeah.
Have you shot expert? Have you shot expert with both hands?
Yeah.
No way.
One of my competition shoots, I fucked off, and I was like, I was having a bad day when it came to
you're a really good
portion,
shot.
And I was just like, fuck it. So I shot all left-handed, and I think I got second. And so I was just like, fuck it. Like I was like, oh, whatever. I have all like. Long story short, the reason why I'm good with both hands was besides the fact that I always thought in the Marine Corps, if you lost your right hand and you're right-handed, you better be able to shoot with your left one because what if
nub.
you're fucked up.
Nub. Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I saw John Wayne and True Grit put the reins in his teeth and Navy Colts just going ham. And I was like, I want to be able to should with both hands. And so I started practicing with my left hand.
Much better inspiration than wielding in Halo 2. Proud of you.
But I wound up getting really good with my left hand. And then I trained all my Marines to do that way. And when I was on the rifle and pistol range, I found Marines that they were told they had to shoot right-handed their entire lives. And I'm like, hey, just based on how you're shooting, try with your left hand. And all of a sudden they can fucking hit expert. And I'm like,
oh man,
you're a lefty.
You guys who would have loved you. I mean, I knew some guys who were right-handed, but they were completely left-eye dominant, and it was just because they had garbage pan for like right eyes. And it's like if you can't see, it doesn't matter if you can shoot. Like you got to be able to see. So like I knew a guy who I grew up with who shot left-handed, even though he was a right-handed man, because he was smart and he was a very good shot. But like people were perplexed. They're like, "Why are you shooting left-handed?" And he inspired a few people who were like, well, maybe I should try shooting left-handed because I don't see very well out of my right eye. And they got way better scores. And it's just like, yeah, you should like shoot in the most advantageous way. Boot camp does an all right job of teaching that, like trying to break you down, make you forget how to shoot, build you up, teach you how to shoot. But like the sensibility is completely lost in the matter.
I was upset in boot camp.
Yeah.
I got the second highest score. And I think I was like 3 or 4 points. I don't. That shit was like a decade ago. But
I was abysmal. I was abysmally low in boot camp.
3 or 4 points under perfect, and a kid that never shot a day in his life was 1 point higher than me. And I grew up with like my grandpa. One of the things is when he was in the army.
That is a really good testament to boot camp does a good job of teaching people who have never shot how to shoot. It's very good at that.
My grandpa,
it's challenging for people who know how to shoot, but it's great for the newbies.
Well, my grandpa taught people, like his like the third year of his 3 years in the army before he re-enlisted into the Air Force. He was a shooting instructor on the range because he was a natural shooter because he grew up hunting because he lived on a farm. Paycheck, farm didn't always pay that well in Oklahoma, so sometimes they'd have to go and like when I was a kid, we poached deer because we were too poor to afford food sometimes. So, like, my grandpa was the same way when he was a kid. So,
my sister tried to use that as an example to explain to somebody who is from Europe why, like, it's not necessarily reasonable for all of Americans to go vegan. She was like, I can name people from 5 states who literally depend on a good deer season to feed their families.
Yeah, but are like Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, and
Arkansas,
Iowa. Are they really states? Or are they just excuses to like?
I don't know. Arkansas
have a star on the flag.
I'm sorry. You're just talking about 30 million people. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. You're just talking about 30 million people. Like, no big deal. Like,
but I was raised by marksmen, and my dad is a hell of a shot. And
I was always better with the bow.
And I'm like dominating. And a kid that never touched a gun beats me by 1 point. And I'm like, second place is the first loser. So I'm just like, I was so upset. I was like, it could have been me.
If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, pretty much. So I was like, God damn. Yeah. But I've always like shooting. So when I went to the rifle range, I was, as a corporal, I was the line staff, which was stupid, but I was already CMC and CMT. So they were just like,
what was your job? What was your was?
Mortarman originally. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, nice fun math job. Yeah, glad you ended up actually on the line for rifle. Actually, that's probably more fun than just training mortar all day would have been.
Honestly, out of my deployments, I want to say I spent 3 months shooting mortars in Iraq, in which most of them were at Loom. Actually, all of them were at Loom. Oh no, there's a couple smoke, but that was about it. And then everything else was like, hey, we're not using 81s. Fuck off. And just
so you spent the rest of your career training people how to shoot rifles.
Yeah, that or just fucking doing patrols and shit. And or a lot of fucking security. I hated. Iraq was mostly security. That was and like
what was a. We were talking about a term for this like not long ago. It was or was it you and me? We're really the ones talking about it. Like what doing security patrols in Iraq really meant. It was I don't know. I came up with it on my own, and then somebody was like, "Oh yeah, no, we actually called it something similar to that." I was like, "Oh, the way we did offense on our back was."
PC answer for this.
Is it father?
Yeah, I mean,
No,
yeah, so
Hard guard. Yeah, no, that makes no. I accept it.
what was it?
Tard guard.
Yeah, so doing patrol ops in Iraq to me seems like, all right, so we have to draw the aggro in order to know who to shoot. So
Oh no. That was something different. That was recon by fire.
That was
like,
it. Yeah, you told me
like,
the term. It was recon by fire.
And
Yeah,
wait for
yeah.
someone to shoot back at
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I was
That's
just like,
fucking
oh man, like this is the most awful thing ever, and this is why we have so many dead friends. Because like our tactic was just like go out and get shot. When somebody shoots at you, we'll make them all dead. But like somebody has to get shot to make that like exchange happen. And I'm like, dude,
yeah, no,
this is bad. Why were we going out
fucking
doing these presence
theory on
patrols?
that. No.
Like,
but also something I've been fucking wanting to ask you. Since we got on here, dude, is that a new jacket? That looks nice.
oh, it's actually, I don't know what you call it, like a jacket. It's a shirt jacket. It's a shirt.
Oh, well, it's a nice jacket.
Thanks. It's
It's
actually
very
like
handsome.
it's a thin wool shirt that is also like kind of a like or no, so it's a thin jacket and a thick shirt, but it's just wool.
No, it's very handsome.
No. Thank you.
It's a manly jacket.
Gabby's parents got it for me for Christmas. And,
nice.
Yeah, it's dope.
Well, looks good on you. It makes you
I
look.
put it on, and I was immediately, I'm like, damn, this is a look. I'm gonna wear this.
No, it's a look. You like that could be your fucking whole identity after that. Like, what you have to be careful about that because you have to make sure that doesn't become your identity.
Oh shit!
Because it's a good enough fucking piece of fucking gear that it
isn't it?
Be
Yeah,
your identity.
Yeah,
Spread
it's
the
super
Hawaiian
soft,
shirts
man.
under it,
It's
or
like
paisley shirts under it, and you're solid.
Oh, dude, is Magnum PI coming back?
There you go.
Because
oh my god! See, that's the thing. I like had this like this linen like flowery floral shirt on today, and I was like, well, I don't want to try it on because I'm wearing a button up, and I don't want to button up over button up. And they were like, no, Parker, that's the thing. It's a jacket. So when you wear it over a shirt, it's being a jacket. But if you didn't want to wear a shirt under it, then it's a shirt. And I'm just like, all right, well, we'll see if that actually works. And I put it on. It's just like,
yeah, no. See, all I can
damn.
think of though in that fucking thing you're wearing, your jacket, is like you're turning the keys on a fucking like late 80s Porsche, and then while you're driving down the road in Miami, all that I can hear is I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord! And then something happens. You have to like turn to the side, and you pull out your fucking Magnum and blast some fucking dude, and like get back on the road.
I definitely.
I've been waiting.
I'm never gonna be packing a Magnum. I don't have the anticipatory discipline to carry a Magnum of any kind. No 45s for me. It's always gonna be 9mm. Let's just be real. I'm not a good shot with a pistol. Ballistically, I should always carry something that's 9mm.
Hey, accuracy through volume.
Yeah.
I'd rather pull the trigger. I mean, my like I said earlier, my favorite, my pistol is a P938 6-hour. That only had 7 rounds. The extended mag. It's a very small pistol, but it's 9mm, and I could fire that thing steady as she rides. Like, because I have pretty good like jerk discipline. Like that's one of the things that one of the recon guys helped me out with a lot, which is like you are sitting there ready to fire, and he has control of your mags, and he pulls your mag out, and he loads it, and he puts the mag in, and he tells you to fire a certain drill. But you have no idea if you actually have a round in there or not, or how many rounds are actually in there. So he could tell you 2 to the chest, 1 to the head, but he only gave you 2 rounds, so the head round doesn't actually go off. Or he could have given you an empty mag, so nothing goes off. And the whole point of that was to teach you to stop using anticipatory jerks, which I had something severe at the time. When I thought the gun was about to go off, I would jerk it, and that would make me like less accurate. And if I had no idea what the gun was about to do, and the gun didn't go off at all, but the gun jerked anyway, then of course it's all on me. Yeah. So like that exercise was really good in teaching me to just like steady the goddamn weapon, and just like let the weapon do what it's gonna do, and work on stabilizing it after it jerks. Don't jerk it your damn self. But most people don't realize that they jerk the gun.
Yeah.
Like that's I didn't know that. Not until
Oh, no, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you. My bad.
No, I mean, yeah, it was it. Yeah, so knowing that I jerk the gun, I jerk pistols a whole lot worse. And with the pistol, it's a lot worse to do.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no, I fucking jerk that shit. So like, I tried my best to eliminate jerk with the pistol, but I had so little practice shooting pistol. I never qualified for it, even though I was on a reconnaissance team. They expected me to carry one if we actually deployed. I just never qualified with the pistol. It's amazing, like what you could gap on training wise in the Marine Corps, like what you have time for, like what you do. Because if like we deployed to a combat zone as the saw gunner, I would have been like, I would really like to have a 45 strapped to my chest. That would be nice. And they would have given me one, but like you have to qual for it, right? So I had to get the practice in literally when I would go home and leave and like hit up one of my hometown friends who was a cop and just be like, hey, will you take me out to your shooting range and like teach me on your Springfield 45 1911s? And he's like, yeah, I'd love to. I was like, thanks. The Marine Corps won't teach me how to shoot pistols. They don't have time for me. So like, yeah, that kind of thing. And I'm garbage at cleaning them because I think 1911s are like hilariously difficult to take apart.
Honestly, 1911s, like I've had a SIG PT-26. I've got my I've got a Smith & Wesson 915. I've even got a Russian Tokarev. And honestly, Tokarev is based off of a 1911, but with a 7.62 by 2.5.
Yeah.
So basically a shortened 7.62 round is what.
But if you had never taken apart a 1911 before, like all you knew was like M16s and M4s and saws, would you shoot the spring across the rim?
I grew up with guns.
I did not. Yeah. So it was news to me. And the first time I took part in 1911, man, my friend blew up because I definitely launched that spring across the room. He was like, bro, if you don't know what you're doing, ask for help. I was like, bro, I told you I don't know what I'm doing. And then he showed me how to take the thing apart. It's not that bad. But it is more complicated than an M16.
So the way I always treated was it jerking the trigger when it comes to the recoil anticipation is I would take a 2x4, and whether it was a rifle or a pistol, I'd say, all right, hold it out there. And I would start tapping it with just the tip of it. And I would tap, and I never would tell them when I would do it. And then I'd go, boom, and I'd miss. And you'd see, like, if it was like rifles was easy, sometimes pistol was a little bit harder, but you'd see someone go, I'm like, you're anticipating your recoil right there. And I would do that until I'd have them steady. And then randomly I'd pick a day where they'd like, or like a time where they didn't think I would do it. And I would be like doing that. And the way that I trained is I bought blanks for my 9mm and I bought blanks for my 7.62. Not blanks.
So something with no recoil, but a bang. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would just, I would just basically mix it in the bag. And then I would not look at it, and I would just be loading, and I'd watch and have music and try so that I didn't feel, and I tried everything I could not to count. And so if I'm by myself, I'd be shoot, and then if there's a blank, usually I'd throw 5 blanks in a bag of 20 rounds. But it, like my pistol, if it's the 915, it only holds 15 in the mag, so I might get 1 blank, 5 blanks. I might get no blanks. It's very rare that I got no blanks.
Fun. Here's a question.
I would also do blank.
That blank doesn't recycle the next round though, right?
Which all that did mean when it would just not fire, tap rack bang. So I would be able to train 2 things in. I mean, I could watch and be like, am I anticipating? And on top of that, do I immediately go into tap rack bang? And so I would just recycle that over and over, and then eventually
that's some good dual purpose training. Yeah. You're teaching this like a true range teacher. I like that. That's good. If only the Marine Corps
tap
rack bang, not a sex move.
Also, it's not really tap rack bang, but like
tap. I mean,
it is.
Yeah, tap like so. Smack, rack it back, or like whether it's a pistol or your rifle, and then pull the trigger. And it should be a bang, but if you don't get it, you do it again. And if you have 2 misfires, you either switch weapons or you start you take cover and you properly clear it.
So tap, you're talking about hitting the forward.
You slap her ass,
tap the magazine,
which is more of a hammer than a tap.
You tap the magazine because all right, so it's maybe in the heat of shit.
Punch her in the clit.
wham, rack, and then also you hit the forward assist.
That's the thing, the forward assist. Like tap rack bang doesn't include the forward assist. It either excludes the forward assist or it excludes the mag. And I'm like, well, it's tap rack, smack, and then like bang. Like,
but I mean, if it's a pistol, it is there's no forward assist. It's like
you're right. There's no forward assist in the pistol, but the forward assist was a move that they invented for a rifle that was notoriously needing tap rack bang.
Yeah.
So like, it's funny to me that we exclude the forward assist from the tap rack bang thing, even though tap rack bang was invented for a rifle that needed a forward assist because it was like demanded the forward assist because the old M16s were just like notorious like jammy. Like
I tell Marines, if you ever like rack around in, just smack the forward assist. Just like as soon as you rack it in, just like whop. And you're
oh man, like I smacked the forward assist like that thing was going into style. Like
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know if I need to hit the forward assist, but anytime anything weird happened with my rifle, I was just like pop that button. Like it can't hurt. What's the forward assist gonna hurt?
I don't know.
It's kind of like when you're hooking up with a chick at a bar and it's like, I don't know what to do because like I'm pushing rope right now. I had a lot of whiskey.
Listen.
I'm just gonna slap you in the pussy.
Nobody has ever complained about thumbing the clit. All right, I've never been yelled at for it. So like just doing some thumb rotation. So like tapping that forward assist has never been problematic. Nobody's ever been like, hey, I really wish you wouldn't tap that forward assist.
Tater slip
give
it
my
in.
dog some water. Be right back.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you want to be monetized if I can talk about tater slipping.
Dude, I am not monetized at the fuck all. What is tater slipping?
All right, so what you do is you push the skin around the head of your dick, and when you push it up the puss and you kind of like release it, it kind of helps push it in. It's called a tater slip.
How do you if you're not circumcised?
Never had to instruct anybody. Like I don't know. Like so
no. Listen, if you're gonna be an instructor on this, there's two schools of thought, and you have to be fucking proficient in both of them.
Circumcised, you fucking heathen.
I am circumcised, but for the others out there who are not,
I'm circumcised and I am a heathen. Just get it snipped.
well, how do you?
I'm not. Are you kidding me? You're gonna tell me a 30s man to go to the doctor to get the tip of my dick cut off for no goddamn good medical reason? Get
You
over
last
yourself.
longer. That's about it.
What do you mean I'll last longer? That's
Yeah,
stupid.
you lose some sensitivity.
No, that's a myth.
I'm not a doctor, so I can't argue if it's a myth or not. Honestly,
Well, I mean, I haven't had both a circumcised and uncircumcised penis as an adult, so I suppose empirically I can't either. But according to the research I've done, which is not empirical, that's myth.
So going off a conversation we had earlier, I told my wife about this. The thought got brought up while we were in a restaurant, and I started to laugh. She's like, "What's up with this?" I can't tell you till we're in the car. She's like, "Okay, fine enough." So we get in the car, and I'm telling my wife about the story, this conversation I had with Chuck, right? And me and Chuck were on the phone the other day, and we got down the rabbit hole on Don Bluth movies, so like Rock a Doodle Doo, fucking All Dogs Go to Heaven, that guy. Same way they did Fox and the Hound, that shit.
oh, God tier.
Yeah,
Fox and the Hound.
yeah. God tier fucking animator. But what I told my wife is like, so we're having this conversation, and it's like Pablo Goes West comes up, and you see West, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like fucking like, hey, I really wanted to fuck Fievel's fucking like mouse sister. Does that make me a furry? And Chuck's like, no, but it's still problematic because that mouse was like 10 years old. I'm like, yeah, but when I wanted to bang her, I was 8, so it's okay, right? And he's like, no,
Mouse years?
it's not okay.
Do mouse years work like dog years? I'm not saying it's okay to fuck animals, but do mouse years work like dog years?
I don't know.
There's a lot to unpack there.
That's
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
That's another website type conversation.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Sorry, my dog's being weird tonight.
I used to have one of my peers who
145.
looked like Feifel in
Oh, really?
human form. He just looked like rat faced as fuck. So he, as boots, we had Hittits, where when our seniors said hit it, you had to do your thing, but you also couldn't break bearing or else you got the shit kicked out of you. But I mean, if you were public, you just got the shit kicked out of you later.
Yeah.
And mine
Somebody
was
East Coast my company.
I'm Native American, but everyone assumed I was Hispanic, no matter how many times I said I was Native American. So my hit it was I had to dance around in a imaginary hat, or I had to throw my hat down and like dance around it, and they'd throw coins at me. But eventually, I just started picking up the coins, and I was like, "Fuck it." No,
You could have gone either way. Arkansas. Did you go East Coast or West?
Fucking West Coast.
You went West. Okay. All right.
This side of the Mississippi. The Mississippi is the drawing line. So
it is, but it also isn't. Depending on like what time of year you go, like
yeah, I get probably like
like,
seats and stuff like
you
that.
can get sent anyway. Like I had a couple of guys from California in my platoon, and I was at Paris Island. It happens.
Well, Navarrete, which he got nicknamed Feifel and Navarrete, he had to quote the movie Feifel Goes West every time he had to hit it. And if he ever quoted the same quote twice, he basically got.
God, I hope he knew that movie really well. There are no cats in America.
He didn't really know any quotes from the movie. Yeah, no, he had to learn the movie. My seniors made him watch it, and if he ever had like time alone, like they just made him watch it again, and it was fucking hilarious.
Rolling, rawhide. The scorpion shows up while he's in the fucking little hole. Hit him up, knock him down, knock him down.
I watched that movie probably like 2 or 3 times as a kid, and then but because he had to watch it so many times while we were boots, I was like, I'd be like walking by his room and I'd hear it, and I'm like, oh fuck, they're making him watch it again, or like sometimes I think he might have just watched it so that.
What do you mean rooms? You guys had rooms at boot?
Well, I mean, barracks.
What is the West Coast?
No, not in boot
camp, but like boots. Like we're in the fleet.
Oh Jesus! Okay, yeah, no, I was so confused. I thought this was a boot camp story.
Oh God, no!
And I'm like, dude, this is so fucking disjointed. Like, who gets made to watch a movie in boot camp? Who has time for that?
No, we were told. I forgot what fucking holiday or what the fuck it was. Oh, it was the Marine Corps birthday, and I was in boot camp, and they were like. We're gonna watch this fucking Marine Corps movie, but they're about to turn it on, and then somehow we fucked up that day, so they just fucking hazed us all goddamn day because we disrespected.
You were never gonna get the movie.
Yeah, you're never gonna win. You're not supposed to win.
The movie never existed. There was no floor. You didn't lose.
They said they were gonna bring a fucking projector, but I don't think any of them had a fucking projector.
I don't think they did either. When they made me a squad leader, they ended up doing a 2011.
Thing where so projectors weren't common in 2011.
No, it was 2009 or 10.
No, we were getting fucked up regardless.
Yeah, no, and at one point, some kid who came back from medical, they ended up finding an empty peanut butter thing somewhere, and they were just like, somebody stole some peanut butter, and they were like ripping us to pieces over, and everyone's like, who stole the peanut butter? Just fess up. And I was like a newly anointed squad leader. I was just like, nobody stole the fucking peanut butter. Just shouted that, and everyone was like, what? I'm like, nobody stole the fucking peanut butter. It's boot camp. You get your ass kicked. Deal with it. And the drill instructor grabbed me by the nape, yanked me out of the room, and he was just like, so you just think that things are just gonna suck no matter what you do, you're the worst kind of person. And he shouted that for everyone to hear. And he was just like I know what you're trying to do. It's not gonna work. You cannot communicate to 83 kids that they're suffering by no fault of their own. Good luck. And I was just like, all right. But on the way out of the room, he was dragging me out. And he was just like, you're the worst kind of human being who thinks that all of his suffering is somebody else's fault, not of his own doing. And gets me out of there and he explains to me, he's just like, it's not going to work. I'm just like, that was kind of an in-roll. I'm like, all right, that's fair. It was worth a shot. I thought maybe I could get 83 kids to listen to me and realize that boot camp's just going to suck no matter what you do.
No. See, I'm gonna call bullshit on that just because what I imagine happened is everyone gets together and they're freaking out about what the senior drill instructor is gonna do, and your kill hat comes out and goes, "Which one of this route has the authority to treat with me?"
So we had.
I've not come to treat with the mouth of Sauron.
We had 2 guys that were basically from countries. One was from like Uzbekistan. The other one was from Uzbekistan, which I'm probably not even saying the right countries.
Well,
one of them
Uzbekistan is not a country. Uzbek is though.
One of them looked like he was Chinese. The other one, whose last name was Muhammad, looked Arabic, but he spoke Russian. And the Muhammad came to the U.S., went to college, spoke English. The other one was like off the boat. We taught him English.
Still somehow ended up in Marine Corps boot camp. Poor guy.
And
because he's a fucking American.
Yeah,
that's how that works.
A goddamn American.
That's how that works.
We had a dude from Guam trying to get a citizenship. So I mean, shit happens, dude. But,
no. We had all kinds of that. We had a guy named Virgilio who was literally a doctor. He was an MD. And fluent in 5 languages, and he was in boot camp, Marine Corps boot camp.
Well, one of the one from fucking that barely spoke English. His name was Ermanov, but we called him Erloff. And at one point, he started writing in his cover Erloff because he thought that's how Americans said his name. So he was fucked up and we're teaching him English, and he was trying to do the treat, never, keep thing. And he goes, treat, keep, never, keep, sir. Treat every weapon that's a bit for loaded, sir. And he gives and the fucking Killhat's losing his shit on him. And it's funny because this is like one of the few stories I ever remember from boot camp. And he's like, treat, never, keep it, treat, never, keep a weapon, never, keep, sir. And he's like, he's having problems. And he just stops and looks at the Killhat and goes, sir, English is hard, sir. And I don't know why he just turned to Holland, but it was just like this accent. He's just like, it's hard. English is hard, sir.
So English is hard, sir.
The Killhat, you can see him. He's losing it. It's just like cover down. And all of us are like, dear God, we're trying not
to. So you think at the
die.
beginning, it's really funny when you think back on that, and it's all kind of a bad dream. But like when a DI pulls the cover off and they put it over their face, when you first get started and you're scared and you're new, you think that they're just like containing some mad rage, but you realize a little later, you're just like, no, that was funny.
Yeah,
and that was the other thing he could do to keep his bearing, because that was so fucking stupid. Yeah. And our Killhat, Howard, really cool guy, actually. Seemed like a Northern Floridian type dude. Had a pretty good combat cycle. Ended up being our Killhat. We had this guy, Virgilio. He
froze.
Me? I froze.
I mean,
you're back.
Yeah, you froze, but when you said you froze and you said we froze, we heard you. So
am I back? Am I good?
Well, you never left.
Okay, well, yeah, in many ways, Big Boy never left, sir. He's always been offering great deals at. My God, he's back. But Virgilio,
Jason Bourne.
His name was actually Virgilio. He spoke Swahili. He was an MD. He was a doctor, and for whatever reason, he ended up in Marine Corps boot camp. And I had a few conversations with the guy, and I was just like, "Why are you here?" And he's just like, service, citizenship. I'm just like, "Bro, there were easier ways to do this. You shouldn't be enlisting, man. Somebody fucking screwed you. You are a doctor. Jesus. You should be an officer. And I don't know. I think he realized halfway through boot camp that he'd been sold a lemon." And he just decided to start trolling the DIs and forget how to speak English.
So what you're saying is he done goofed.
Yeah, he did. But DIs goofed too. And he would just forget how to speak English pretty strategically, and it was always very entertaining. He'd be on Firewatch, and he'd be giving the greeting, and they'd be like, no, this is how it goes. And he'd be like, no, this is how it goes. And he would repeat it with slightly very small errors. He'd be like, no, like this. And he'd be like, no, like this. And he'd and it was just so funny. It would go on for 20 minutes. And it was just bad enough that the drill instructors kept engaged because they thought they were punishing him, but he was really punishing them. And it was listening to a Who's on First Base skit the whole time. It was so funny. And he would frustrate. Our drill instructors eventually figured it out. They were like, listen, this guy knows English better than we do, and he's a giant troll. Leave him alone.
It stopped.
Yeah, no, we're back.
But drill instructors from other companies come through deck.
Stopped again.
Oh, there we go. All right, yeah. Drill instructors from other companies would come through your deck here and there, and they would try to mess with them, and he would just be like, "Oh yes, go ahead, make my day. And he would just like do the thing and just pretend he didn't understand English just enough to keep the who's on first base skit thing going. And listening to those people struggle was, you know, if you were still awake, quite the gem. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
No, that reminds me, fucking you remember that like week or two where like you had to like pretend like you're on like lockdown. It was like super Firewatch all fucking week long.
Is this in boot camp?
Yeah, no, this is a boot camp fucking thing.
Yeah, what's on boot camp for us tonight? That's fucking
yeah,
cool.
dude. No, this doesn't normally come up.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know how this happened, but it's just fucking funny.
But we're here now.
Yeah.
But I remember like
Tell me
fucking
about the old core.
I was on yeah. Well, I mean the old core starts the day before you joined. Whoever you are, whoever you are, the old
no matter
core
what you
is
did,
the day before you
up.
joined.
You joined too late. You're soft.
He said, "You're a boot to somebody." I had seniors, and I was like, "Goddamn right."
Yeah. No, but I remember.
Hey, I'm sorry, Eric. Did you join 1 year after I did? You're a piece of shit. Like,
yeah.
Like,
I'm sorry, my parents fucked later than your parents fucked.
dude, how dare you? How dare you even think that you could touch the same Marine Corps that I touched?
But I remember I was in the fucking squad bay. It was like I was on Firewatch in the middle of the fucking night, and we're doing that thing where it's like you're supposed to like put your ID to the fucking window to like get into the fucking squad bay or whatever. And I see one of my drill instructors coming up, and I open the fucking door for him, which I guess is a mistake because he didn't show me his ID. He starts lighting me up because I didn't follow the proper procedures. You know, he didn't show me the ID, and I just let him in fucking as some fucking idiot. He starts lighting me up. I'm like, well, I mean, it's not this recruit's fault. Fucking, I couldn't have fucking kept you anyway because the doors don't secure. There's a problem with the lock. You could have gotten in either way if you wanted to. And he goes, "Oh yeah, bullshit." He walks outside. I close the door, and he grabs the door to open it, and the door doesn't open, and he looks up and like dead eyes. He's like, "Let me the fuck." And I'm like, this recruit cannot let you in without fucking proper identification. He didn't have his fucking ID on him, so he's like shaking the door, screaming at me, and I'm like, this recruit cannot let you in without fucking blah 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 whatever. And that went on for like 15 minutes, and then eventually fucked off. The next day, I don't mean the next morning. I don't mean the next 15 minutes after I woke up. I mean the next day, I got intimately familiar with sand.
Yeah, no. I assume, were you East Coast or West Coast? Shit, I can never remember. You West Coast.
I was East Coast. Yeah, no, but it was like, hey, fucking recruiting agents, get out of bed. Hey, you remember when you didn't let me in last
Island
night?
hopping.
Yeah.
Island hopping.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
That's what they call it, right? Island hopping.
Sandpit.
Yeah, exactly. Sandpit. Yeah, no, that's what
I was just doing what you told me to do. Yeah. I was trying to guard the door. It's not my fault your dumbass got locked outside.
For no good goddamn reason, one morning, Howard woke me up about 15 minutes before the 15 minutes late. He was just like, "I would really like it if you would just put your camis and your boots on right now, but you know, not your blouse. Don't put anything in your pockets. Just keep it simple. Just your top trousers and boots." I'm just like, "God damn it!" And he's like, "Excellent." Like as soon as they say like lights unite, we're gonna go island hopping. I'm just like, Juma said, "Here's the Juma." He just like treated me to sandpit after sandpit after sandpit. And every time somebody came up to say like, "This recruit's done," you know, like, you know, all right, stop. Like he would just be like, "Oh no!" Like before that guy could say stop, we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
And it was like really good salt tasting for me pissing him off real bad the day before. We had a particular vendetta. I'm sorry, my dog is.
Oh, he's moaning.
I was the Erloff.
He's being highly unusual for 2 a.m.
The Erloff stories crack me up because like those two fuckers were just like, Muhammad was a highly educated man that probably needed, like he had, I want to say probably like 2 bachelors, and I'm like, you should have been an officer, but he was just like,
that's what I thought about Virgilio, the dog's here. I'm like, why are you an officer? Why are you even in the Marine Corps?
But like, it's really funny because I don't know, he probably spoke more than just English and fucking Russian, but there's one day Erloff was so gassed. It was that final shit at the end of boot camp. I forget what it is. It's called
the Crucible.
Yeah, Crucible. In the Crucible, fucking Erloff is out of breath. Erloff was also a fat body that lost probably 20 pounds in boot camp. And so he's like, they're running him ragged and he's out of breath. And all of a sudden he can't speak English. He's so fucking out of it. And so he's trying to talk to our senior drill instructor with this like he's like trying to say something, and he's just like, and then he starts speaking Russian. So Muhammad runs up, says something to him in Russian, says something back, and then he translate, and then he says something, and he says something back, and then he translates again, and our killhead goes, "You will never speak a different language in fucking front of me," and loses his shit because he's just like, I don't know why, but like the whole translation thing. And later, when like they ran off and we were supposed to do this thing, I look back and our senior killhead is like almost on his fucking knees laughing at this stupid scenario of like this fucking muppet of a human being not being able to speak English and just has to have a translator. And he's like, I saw it, and I know I wasn't supposed to see it, but I saw it, and I was like, oh my God, like these dudes are. It was a fucking comedy show almost. Those like out of everything in boot camp, if something funny happened, it was because one of those two, and then insert something with Russia, and then like the amount of times our seniors started calling them Ivan and Ivan. It was Ivan 1, Ivan 2, or Ivan and Ivan Jr. And they're like. And that was the whole fucking joke. And every time I'm just like, I'm sitting there just trying not to laugh my ass off because I'm like, these two guys are fucking weird. But, you know, it lightened the mood or made it worse. Those times it made it worse. But it's just the whole like, he said this. He said this. And he's like, don't ever fucking do that shit again. And then he's over there fucking almost on his fucking ass laughing. I'm like, that shit was funny. Mind you, I never got made fun of with my last name in boot camp.
Really?
Ever. And I actually, it was graduation day. I went over to my J hat.
No way.
I was like,
Pickle never got you any grief at boot camp, huh?
Huh? Yeah, no one made fun of, no one joked about my last name, and I expected it. And I was like, I went up to my J hat, and I was like,
you'd been through high school, so like, yeah, no, you knew.
I was like, Staff Sergeant, why did you never make fun of me for my last name? And he just like looks at me and goes, too easy of a joke. There's better things to make fun of. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, fuck it. The low-hanging fruit, there's no point in picking it, dude. And I'm like, oh, fair enough.
My last name is 10 letters long, very Slavic, apparently Hungarian, and the American pronunciation is.
That is a difficult pronunciation, but I think I can do it.
Okay, so is it GRRUGRHHRUGGGRHU?
Yeah.
Right.
It's Klobuchar. And my senior drill instructor, you know, you spend your first few days of boot camp not having drill instructors. You have like some receiving drill instructor, and you're just like, whatever. And mine was a very violent man, to be honest, probably the most violent drill instructor that I had. But I don't remember all that much about him, except that he had a very thick Caribbean drawl and that he hit me every time I walked by him. But that was only 4 days. And then after that, it was like pretty standard boot camp shit. But every time I ran by this guy, he would like open palm me to the head, and I'd go soaring across the ground, slide and hit the wall.
Distance away for your protection.
Yeah, he'd be like, 1 arm's distance, recruit, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I was not 1 arm's distance away from you. You have hit me every time.
He hit you, so you were not.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he like moved to hit me. I'm just saying. Like,
So what you're saying is instead of I'm moving, he does this. You're moving, he does the instant fucking transport, and then.
Man, I did my best to stay as far away from the man as possible, and somehow I ended up getting like palm to the head like 5 times by that fucking dude. Like, it was just hilarious. And every time it happened, I was just like, I went fetal position, shock, slide across the floor, hit the wall. I'm just like, how did this happen? It's 2 in the morning, working on me. Probably needs a poop.
Do you remember your drill instructor stacks, and then like looking back after you got out and being like, "Fuck you"?
No, not personally, no. And that's because like I got in a particularly soft time, and these guys were, I don't know, these guys actually had pretty good careers, and they were forced to be drill instructors. You know, they didn't have any other options. Like they were all infantry, artillery, things of that nature, and to re-enlist, you had to be a billet, and you had to be a combat instructor, drill instructor, or recruiter, and you got to choose, but you had to do one, and depending on the stats, in those days, like, man, I might have chosen drill instructor. Like, you know,
I had one that had a stack, and it was our kill hat, Sergeant Prophet, and he got NJP'd during our boot camp because Mothers of America, and
well, I mean, Mothers of America is not real.
Yeah, well, basically, one of the Marines got locked in the whiskey locker, and he was flipping the lights on, like, find the bleach. And this kid also, he dropped out of the fucking Marine Corps.
Sure, yeah.
He was a fucking piece of shit. And but basically, he wrote some letters, and I guess they fucking, they NJP'd him, but he stayed a drill instructor and didn't lose rank. So I guess company level, and which was fucking weird. And then after that, he had a fucking vendetta because apparently, according to Lindsay, he was sleepwalking and abused him. And it was this weird thing. So like he would come in the middle of the night, destroying our squad bay, go, I guess I'm fucking asleep, and just kicking and throwing shit. And he would just and then Lindsay had to clean it up every fucking morning after that.
Can you imagine if that was like if that was a legitimate cop out for anything? Oh yeah, hey, sorry, wife. I guess I was asleep when I fucked your sister. Oh hey, sorry, fucking police department. I was asleep when I robbed that bank and shot that guy. Oh hey, sorry, fucking Serbia. I guess I was asleep when I fucking shot Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
And the thing was, though, he didn't make that excuse. Lindsay did, and that like they put him on a sleep watch where he had to sleep, like he was required to sleep. But he's the kill hat, so he's the newest drill instructor, so he's the one that has to be there 24/7 almost. And there's many times where like middle of the night, I'm on fire watch, I have to do the check the bathroom thing, and I walk back and I made the mistake of looking towards the drill hut. And he's there on his phone, and he sees me looking at him, and I don't know what he threw. He threw something at me. It hit me in the head, and I just kept walking. And then we just never addressed what happened. And I was like, okay, he's not sleeping.
I feel that. Yeah, no, of course he
was required to sleep, but actually, he was the only one he wasn't actually infantry. He was motor T, but I remember distinctly because I looked it up in boot camp because I saw his stack and I wondered because I knew what stars were on ribbons, but I didn't know what a V was. He had a NAM with a V on his chest, and I was like, I wonder what that is. And I looked it up and I go, oh, cool. And then later on, I realized I was like, oh, he was the old, like everyone else just with like maybe 2 rows, and then like he's up there with like 4 rows, and I'm like, okay, no, he's. And like later on,
really funny.
I don't want to give a shit about.
Shortly after getting to language school, I ended up getting met and addressed by a man by the name of Skinner. He was PFC Skinner when I met him, but he was PFC Skinner with a fruit salad, like a whole bowl full, right? He had like 5 rows with like he's building on the 6th, and I looked at him and he's like clearly 28 or 30 years old, something like that. And I'm just like, nice to meet you, Private First Class Skinner. I gotta say though, like upon meeting you, something about your whole uniform, meeting you on this day, a Friday, seems wrong. What up with the fruit salad? He was like, oh no, don't worry about that. I'm just PFC Skinner. And it turns out that he had been a staff sergeant about a week prior.
Oh,
and he'd been NJP'd for some shit regarding sleeping around. I don't know. He got screwed over by a really bad battalion. I learned to believe that we had because like he had been pretty drunk and he had some girl take him home and she like seduced him and she was married and he was married and she like filmed it and he like went to the battalion and he was just like, hey, something really fucked up happened last night. I got seduced, but I like wasn't really like sober enough to like consent. And they were like, "Oh yeah, no, she came to us first, and she has the video or whatever." And he's just like, "Well, then, like, I don't understand. Like, why am I being held accountable? You know, like, and just and all went to shit. It was real messed up. But like, no, I meant it was PFC. It was just like, oh damn."
At a
But his fruit salad was like, dude, like fucking 4.5 rows thick.
I had a corporal named O'Malley, and he was
O'Malley.
he was a corporal when I met him. He got out as a sergeant, but I know that he was like one of 3 Marines that I ever knew was ever like this. But he had 4 assault NJPs on him. But at the time, he was
a little different.
One of
I don't think I'm hanging out with somebody who's assaulted.
I don't know if he was the most decorated, but he was one of the most decorated Marines in 2-7 at the time. And this was a man that I've seen on many a work day, just with a bottle of Jameson in his hand. But he knew my cousin. My cousin was a gunny. And my cousin was infantry motherfucker. My cousin was the reason I ever became a mortarman, because my cousin's Boots was the senior mortar instructor at ITB, and he recognized my cousin. My cousin told him I was gonna be there, and it was like, "You're gonna be a mortarman," and I was like, "I want to be a machine gun staff sergeant." And
did you enlist a fucking open contract to 3?
Open infantry.
Oh, you asshole!
Waived a bonus, signed a 6-year contract, went early.
All right. I mean, there are benefits to that, but still at the same time, Jesus, man, you could have just ended up like a straight up 0311. Like,
yeah, well, shit happens when you party naked. But basically, my cousin made me. He told the senior instructor I was gonna be there, and then they're like, "You're a mortarman like your fucking cousin." And they're like, "You don't rate just because he's a gunny." I was like, "I fucking know that. I like, trust me. Like, what he did and what I'm doing is 2 different things." But they wouldn't let me become a machine gunner, which is what I wanted. And they're like, "You're going to be a fucking mortarman, shitter, because your cousin was a mortarman." And I'm like, "All right, fuck it, whatever." But my cousin he was the senior for O'Malley in 3-4 for like his first deployment. So O'Malley knew who I was. So he never beat the shit out of. I've seen him like wreck motherfuckers, just Irish drunk, to the point of people almost need to go to hospitals. But then he'd look at me and go, "You got to dip." There's a certain point where I realized he dipped cope straight, long cut. And I dipped Grizzly Wintergreen, so I kept a can of cope straight in my pocket because he'd ask me for a dip, and he would take half the can, throw it in his fucking mouth, and just walk on. But he never fucked with me because he knew my cousin. And I was like, thank fucking God, because he terrified. Like, there's very few men or people in this world that ever scared me. O'Malley was fucking terrifying as a human.
It doesn't matter if they would scare you if you met them at a bar. What matters is that you met them in a place where they had power.
I could have if I met that guy in an alley before he even said something to me, I would have gave him like my wallet, my girlfriend, and like my life savings. I wouldn't give a shit. That man, when he walked, you're like, that's not a human being anymore. That's a fucking creature.
Yeah, that's what I used to say. I had this like a European giant hornet, not Japanese, specifically not Japanese. I had a European giant hornet attach itself to my window in my last apartment. And these things are terrifying looking. And if you don't know the difference, you would think that that's the scariest goddamn hornet in the world. When in reality, the Japanese hornets are a little scarier, though they are a little smaller. Bigger does not necessarily mean badder, but it's a big fucker. And you're like, dude, why are you attached to my like windowsill? And I like took pictures of it, and I'm just like, what is this? And I'm doing my research, and like, you know, my brother calls me. He's like, hey, you said you're about to go out for cigarettes. I'm like, well, I can't leave. He's like, why? I'm like, well, because, well, there's a giant hornet attached to my window. If that thing comes in and asks me for my wallet, I am probably going to give it everything. I'm going to give it my wallet. I'm going to give it my watch. I'm going to give it my social security number, my susceptibility to strange diseases, like my car, my keys, like everything. Like, I'm just going to be like, dude, I can't get out now. That thing's too scary. It's too big. I don't have a lot of phobias, but giant fucking hornets. I don't know about you, but I've been stung by a lot of shit. And giant fucking hornets, I'd like to keep off that list. I just don't want
Yeah,
to.
no,
Yeah.
that's valid.
Yeah, but on that, I think we're gonna fucking end this because it's about fucking nap time. Before we go out, I do want to give a shout out to fucking Tommy Allen, who's been blowing up the fucking comments. Fucking thank you very much,
Wait,
Tommy.
where are the comments? Do we have comments?
Oh no, it's on the left side of the screen. Like there's a button that says comments. Fucking
What?
yeah, no, it's over there. It's on the thing. It's on
Oh
that
shit,
side.
dude! There was comments this whole time. Jesus.
Dude, yeah, no, it's the whole time. Fucking yeah. On
Oh my
certain
God.
sides of the sex.
That's too far away.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm nearsighted. Didn't see it all. Anyway, Tommy Allen, fucking, you rock. What's up? Also, fucking Chuck, thanks for fucking showing up. Fucking love you.